Hello everyone, welcome to this MySQL MariaDB database with Python tutorial by Zebracode. In this tutorial, we are going to look at ways of connecting Python with MySQL databases while using XAMPP, CMD and PHPMYADMIN in the process. In your career as an application developer, sometimes you will come across a project that requires a database for its backend. Irrespective of the programming language you are using, you would need a mechanism to connect to the database with the programming language. Python and some Python-based frameworks, such as Django, officially support different databases. Some of the databases that Python supports are SQLite, PostgreSQL, Oracle, MySQL, MariaDB, the Microsoft Access or MS, and some other databases. There are also many third-party applications available that can help you connect to unofficially supported databases. There are several MySQL Python modules. We can use these different modules of MySQL to connect to Python. They are all very easy to use, and the process of connecting them or installing them is similar. There are several MySQL Python modules that you can use in your project. Some of the MySQL Python modules that you can use are MySQL Connector Python, PyMySQL, MySQL DB, MySQL Client, or SQL MySQL Connector. In the process of doing this video, we will specifically be using this top one, the MySQL Connector Python. Now, with that said, let's actually write an application whereby we can truly connect MySQL Python with the MySQL Connector Python module. But before then, please take a minute and subscribe to our channel. Before we can write our Python code in which we will be working with MySQL, we need to set up the development environment. We will be using XAMPP, PHPMYADMIN, and the command line, as well as PyCharm in the process. Although I will be using the PyCharm IDLE for the Python programming code part of it, you can use any IDLE of your choice. Our server needs to be running, and to launch our server, navigate to where XAMPP is installed on your computer or where your MySQL is installed in. In my case, I have navigated to where XAMPP is installed on my system. Now, click on the XAMPP control button, this very one here, and this window will pop up. With this window open, let's start Apache and MySQL. Click on Start for Apache and also click on Start for MySQL. Now, with both Apache and MySQL running, click on the shell, which is the CMD, the command prompt, to open it. Great. XAMPP is now launched, and I'm going to log into the MySQL server. MySQL space -h, which is for host. In this case, is localhost. You can use your login details. I am using the default login details for the MySQL server, which comes with a XAMPP. Now, space u, which is for user. In this case is root. There is no password, so hit enter. Great. I have been able to log into the MySQL server successfully. Please use your correct login details to log into your MySQL server. Now, with the MySQL server running, we can start the process of connecting to it. I am going to minimize this one, and please note the port that your MySQL is running on. It could be port 80 or 8080 or something else that you have set it to. In my case, I set it to 3344. We will need it later. I'm referring to this one here. Now with this one in place, you may also want to open the PHPMYADMIN. This is the PHPMYADMIN page, and it shows here my server, that is the local host. So you don't really need to do anything here for now. Now open your IDLE, which is PyCharm in my case. Yours could be something different. I am going to create a file here. File, new. Let's name the file loginfo.py. Hit enter. Great. Now we have a file which we named loginfo.py. Okay. To be able to use the MySQL connector Python module, we will first need to install it. There are different ways to do that. You can use the pip3 to install it, or you can use the PyCharm graphical user interface to install it. I'm going to show you both. The first option will be for us to go to File, Settings, then click on Python Interpreter. Here on this page, click on the plus sign, because at the moment I don't have the MySQL connector Python here. I need to install it, and to do that, click on the plus sign here and type in MySQL hyphen connector hyphen Python. Should be this one here, MySQL connector Python. Click on it and click install package. Great, the package has been installed successfully, and it says here package MySQL connector Python installed successfully. Now close this and click OK here. Now we have it here. The second method is to do it through the terminal. Open the terminal here and type in pip3 install what? Install the MySQL hyphen connector hyphen Python. That is pip3 install MySQL hyphen connector hyphen Python and hit enter. If you are using this method, hit enter here. If you are using the other method, you don't need this. So because I have used the other method to install it, I am not going to hit enter here, so that I don't install it twice or attempt to install it again. But if you are using this method, please go ahead and hit enter to install it. Great. Now we have successfully done the installation of the MySQL connector module. We can now use it. To be able to use it, we need to import it. Import what? MySQL dot connector. Great. Now we have successfully imported the MySQL connector into our project. Now let's create a variable to make a connection to the server. I will name it db con equals MySQL dot connector dot connect. So we are going to enter the arguments here now that we will use to make the connection to the server. The first one will be host equals, what is our host here? It's a local host. This could have been the IP address of where you are connecting to. but I'm going to use localhost here. Command. The second one will be port number, the port number of where we are connecting to. Remember, I told you just now to notice the port number. If you forgot, you can always check here. This is your port number. So mine is 3344. Check whatever yours is and enter it here. Port equals 3344. Command. The next one is the username. User equals root. These are the default login details for MySQL on XAMPP. Command. And the next one is password. Password equals, on XAMPP it's empty, there is no password. These are the 4 arguments you would need. Space this out. That's better. So there is a 5th one, which is for the database, but at the moment we have not created our database, so don't worry about that for now. I will come back to it later on in the video. Now we have successfully connected to the MySQL database or the MySQL server. But to be able to use the MySQL features, we need to create a cursor. The cursor gives us access to MySQL functions. So to do that, we will create a cursor. I will call it my cursor equals dbconnect. That's dbcon dot cursor. So now we can start using the MySQL functions or features through the myCursor variable that we have just created. Now let's check that the connection to the server is actually successful. I will say print. Print what? We are going to print this dbcon variable, which holds all the values that we have just passed in to connect to this server. Print dbcon. Now let's run it to see what message we are going to get. Run log info. Great, no error, and it shows here the object is at this location, so the connection was successful. I am going to comment this out now, this very line. So let's check with an if statement to confirm that we are actually successfully connected to the server. If dbcon print connected to the server successfully, else print I am unable to connect to this server. And let's run it again. Great, it says here connected to the server successfully. If I change the host now to 3304, which is wrong based on what we've just seen here, it's 3344 here, but I'm just going to test it again with a wrong port number. Let's run it again and see what message we are going to get here. Exactly, failed. This is the exit code 1. Can't connect to my SQL server on localhost 3304. So 3304 is wrong. I run it again. Now connected to the server successfully. So this is how you connect to my SQL database with XAMPP and Python using the PHPMYADMIN LE. Usually, your login details should be in a separate file. They should not be in the same file that you are writing your code in. That is for security reason. So with that said now, I am going to create another file where we will actually be writing our code. Now I'm going to create a new file, new. It's a Python file. I will call it my books. .py. mybooks.py. Hit enter. Great. Now we need to import the other file into this. I'll be from. What is the name of our file? Loginfo. From loginfo, import everything. Now we can start using the features of MySQL because we are connected to the server and we have installed the module. The first thing we need to do now is to create a database. See, let's create our database. We will name our database app books. Now let's call the myCursor object myCursor. Now let's use myCursor dot execute. myCursor execute. Let's enter my SQL statement here. Create database. If not exists, app books, and let's run it. Great, it was created successfully. Okay, I see my cursor.execute create database if not exist app books, and we need to commit it. That will be our database dbcon dot commit. Now let's run it. Okay, it was successful. And let's go and check it. Show databases. Great, 28 rows insert, and if you look at it, we have our database here, app books. It was created successfully. Now with our database app books created, we can actually come to this place, login info, and add that one to it. Say database equals double quote app books. So this is the database we are going to be using. Now we have 5 parameters here, 5 arguments: host, local host, port, user root, password, database, app books. You could have also put this one and the IP address together, but I'm not going to use that method. I'm just using this one. So now we are done with this file. Let's go back to our app books application. We can also show the databases here if we want. That will be my cursor dot execute. Show databases. To show databases, we say myCursor.execute show databases. So let's actually look through that. For I in myCursor, print I. Now let's run it. Great. Now these are the databases that we currently have on our server, and app books is one of them. So it was created successfully. Once again, we use my cursor.execute to create a database if not exist app books, and we use my cursor here .execute show databases, and we loop through it for I in my cursor print I. I am going to comment this one out. Now we have been able to connect to the server. We have created a database. Let's create a table in that database. Now let us create a table in our database. We will call it academic books. I will be my cursor dot execute. It's going to be like a prepared statement. Put 3 quotation marks there, or 3 single quotes. There should be 6, 3 on both sides. Create table if not exist academic books. Book ID, book underscore ID, int of size 6, not null, auto increment, command, book underscore title, be voucher 100, not null, command, book underscore author underscore first name, voucher 100, not null, book author underscore last name, voucher 100, not null, book underscore subject underscore area, voucher 100, not null, command, book underscore number of pages, int, we will make that 6, not null. You see now, book underscore publication date, what we abbreviate it to pub underscore date. The data type will be year, so not null, command, and we need to add a primary key. Primary key will be book underscore ID. Now we can close that. Yes, that's fine. So what is going on here? We are using the cursor variable now to call this execute function from MySQL and create table if not exist academic books, book ID int 6, not null, auto increment, book title voucher not null. We can also make this one to be unique. Normally two books can have the same title, but we just don't want to be able to insert one title twice. That is why we're making this one unique. Now, book author first name, varchar 100 not null. Book author last name, varchar 100 not null. Book subject area, varchar 100 not null. Book number of pages, int not null. And book pub date, year not null. The primary key is book ID. So now we can run our code. Let us see how our table looks with the MySQL describe function. That will be my cursor dot execute describe table academic books for I in my cursor print I. Leave a comment here. Let us see how our table structure looks. My cursor that execute describe academic books. We can put a semicolon here because it's a MySQL statement. Let's run it. Yes, this is the structure. This is based on what we specified here. We can also use the CMD prompt or the command prompt to look at it. Here we can say use app books semicolon database change. Now that same function describe academic books semicolon. Great. This is how it looks. When you view it from the command prompt, CMD, the shell, this is how it looks. Okay, now let's go back to our Python document. I'm going to clear this one. Now I will comment this one out. Now that we have a database and a table in it, it is time for us to insert values into the database table. Let's populate the table with some data. Now we are going to add data to our table. We will prepare a query statement. I will name it a SQL stmt equals insert into table academic books book title. We are not going to insert the ID because that one is set to auto increment. So we start with the book title, book author, first name, put a comma there, backslash, book author, last name, comma, book underscore subject area, comma, book underscore number underscore of underscore pages, book number of pages, command, backslash there for now, and book underscore pub underscore date. Can remove those quotes. Tidy up this. Values. Values, we'll put a placeholder here for now. Percentage sign S, percentage sign S, percentage sign S. One more, percentage sign S. Let me fix this one first. Alright, this one is just to prevent it from running on as one line. That's why I put this backslash here. So now what we have here is we have a statement. I named the variable SQL underscore stmt, that is SQL statement, which is equals insert into table academic books, book title, book author first name, book author last name, book subject area, book number of pages, and publication date. That's book publication date. We are going to insert some values into those fields, but now what we have is a placeholder. It expects some strings to be passed in. That is our first SQL statement. Now it's time to actually add the values. I will create another statement there. I will call it added values equals. Now the first one is the book title. Let's call it Python for beginners. Author first name, Becky. Author last name, Donaldson. Number of pages, 320. And the year of publication is 2020. Now we need to execute these two statements. To do that, we will say my cursor dot execute. Execute what? The first one is the SQL underscore stmt command added values. So those are the two values we really want to execute, the two statements. Now let's run our code. Run. It says here not all parameters were used in the SQL statement. Fine, we can fix that. So where would that problem actually be? It's easy to spot. We have here now book title, which is Python for beginners. Book author first name, Becky. Book author last name, Donaldson. What about book subject area? We omitted that, so we need to add it. That will be computing. Okay. Why is it complaining here? There was a typo here. S was missing here, and S was missing here too. A comma was missing here too. So there were a few typos there. Now it is correct, and we can run it. Since you have an error in your SQL syntax, check the manual that corresponds with your version of syntax to use near table academic books, title books, first name, book author last name. Okay, at line 1 there was a typo there as well. Okay, so what is going on here? We have here our SQL statement, which is insert into table. Oh, we don't need this one here. SQL statement called insert into academic books, book title, book author first name. This backslash is just to break the line. Book author last name, book subject area, book number of pages. This is another backslash to break the line. Book pub date. Now values, this is just a placeholder where we will insert data later on. Now the values that we are going to insert inside the placeholder are named this variable added underscore values. So it's equals Python for beginner, that will go in here. Becky, first name will go in here. Donaldson, last name will go in here. Computing, the book subject area will go in here. The number of pages will go in here, and the year of publication will go in here. Now we have these two statements. We are going to use mycursor.execute to execute or implement the two variables, the two statements. Now with this out of the way, let's run our code. Great. There was no error. It shows a 0, which means everything was run successfully. So if we go in now to check our database table, we should have one value in it. But there is something I will need to demonstrate to you, which is very important. I'm going to comment out this commit statement. If we run it now, let's see what will happen. Now I have commented out this commit statement. Let's see what will happen. I'm going to run it. What is our error message? It says here, duplicate entry Python for beginners, because we set the title to unique. So it's not going to accept that book title. But now let's check our table. Select everything from academic books. Great. So we have here now Python for beginners, Becky, Donaldson, computing. That is our first entry there. Okay. I am going to use the MySQL statement here, truncate. If we have a reason to empty our table, we can use the truncate function. To do that, I will say here, truncate function, my cursor dot execute. Truncate table academic books. My cursor.execute truncate table academic books. But before we run that query, let's quickly comment this one out. Okay, great. It was completed successfully. If I go in there now, run that code again, it says empty set. There is nothing in that table anymore because we have truncated it. So truncate empties the table and resets it to the default setting. It doesn't actually drop it. It doesn't delete the table. It's just to empty it. That's what I was just trying to demonstrate to you there. There could be more to it. All right, I'm going to comment this one out now. I will uncomment this one and uncomment this one. So if I run it again now, one entry will be added to the table. Great, we've got it back. So that is that. Let's add a few more values to this. This time I'm going to quickly change this one, Python for musicians by Harry Poes. Subject area is music. Number of pages 270. Year of publication 2023. That's going to be published in the future. That will be next year. So now if we run this code again, great, 0 shows it was successful. And if we go in there again to check it, great, we have now 2 entries, Python for beginners, Python for musicians, and the other fields are also populated with the right data. There is something very important I would like to explain to you here. Up till now, we are adding 1 value at a time. Python for musician was added at a time, and Python for beginners was also added at a time. But there is a method we can use to add multiple entries, multiple values. And to do that, we'll first of all here put this one on its own line, put this one on its own line, and in between here we can add multiple values. And if we are going to add multiple values, we will have to change this one to execute many, not just mycursor.execute, but it will be mycursor.execute many. So now that we are going to insert many, I'm going to paste some values that we can insert here. Okay, I'm going to copy it. Now I'm going to paste it here. So I have many lines that I have copied and I pasted here. I don't know how many they are, but I can check. To find out how many they are, we can write another statement. We'll say here print my cursor dot row count command. How we say rows added successfully. So what that means is it's going to print out a statement to say how many rows were added. So it will tell us how many values these ones are. So let's run it. Great, it was run successfully. What does it say? Exactly, it says here 31 rows added successfully. So with the mycursor execute many function, we have been able to execute these statements, and with the print mycursor.row count, we've been able to tell how many rows were added successfully. It says now 31 rows added successfully. That is what we printed out here. Mycursor.row count, rows added successfully. Let me clear this one. Now let's read everything from our database table. First of all, I'm going to comment this one out so that it doesn't attempt to add it again. Let's comment everything from there till here out. All right, now we've commented that one out. It will not attempt to print it out again. Now let us print everything out. Let us print everything in the table out. My cursor dot execute, select star from academic books. This will select everything from the table. Let's look through it for R in my cursor. Print I. Now let's run it. Great. Need to move this one up a bit. Now you can see everything is printed out. How you print all the data in the table. We can also use the CMD prompt to do it, the shell. Select everything from academic books. Exactly, it's the same thing as well, though the screen width is not enough here. That's why the dates are appearing above the numbers. Okay, 33 rows insert. You can also view this one with PHPMYADMIN. I can quickly demonstrate that to you later in the video. Alright, now I'm going to clear this one again. Then let's comment this one out for now. We can select only certain books from the table. To do that, say my cursor dot execute, select book underscore title, book underscore author, first name, book underscore author last name, comma, backslash, from. We can make this selection from our table, academic books, with a where clause, where book underscore subject underscore area equals what? Single speech mark there, equals programming. Here we have created a query to execute, and now we are going to look through it. For I in my cursor, print I. Alright, here we have a query that says my cursor.execute, select book title, book author first name, book author last name from academic books where book subject area equals programming. And we are looping through it here with this for loop. For I in my cursor, print I. Let's run it. Great. It prints out here now everything that is programming. We can also add programming and a subject area to it, so that it will be so our query should now look like this. My cursor.execute, select book title, book author first name, it's a backslash to break the line into two, book author last name, book subject area from academic books where book subject area equals programming. Let's run it. Great. So now what we printed out now is those books that are in the programming category. In this case, we could also have entered something here to say print. Print what? My cursor dot row count, comma, entries found. So if we run it again now, yes, 4 entries found. Or we could make that better for results. I count the row count, results found. I think that sounds better. Yes, for results found. I'm going to clear this one. We can also use the fetch one and fetch all features of MySQL and Python to display one or multiple results. To do that, first of all, let me comment this one out. Now I'm going to change the subject area option to something else. Change this one to finance. And here we will say result. I'll create a new variable here, result equals my cursor dot fetch one now print result. Now we have here result equals my cursor dot fetch one print result. I'm going to comment these two lines out for now. We don't need them for now. What we've actually done here is my cursor dot execute select book title, book author first name, book author last name, book subject area from academic books, where book subject area equals finance, and we have commented these ones out now. So this variable result equals my cursor dot fetch one print result. It's going to return only one result. Let's run it. Exactly. We have here borrowing and paying Laura King finance. Actually, there is more than one finance book in that database table, but we've only specifically say here now fetch one. There is also another one, fetch all. Let's see what that will do for us. I'm going to run it. Great. Now you see with fetch all, we've got more than one. Borrowing and paying Laura King's finance. Managing money, Bianca Fowler, also finance. Money matters, Erica Jones, it's also finance. And monetary policy, Wallace Brixton, finance as well. So with fetch one, we got only one result pulled out of the many results, but with fetch many, it printed out all the entries that met our query condition. This is how you use fetch one and fetch all in MySQL with Python. Okay. We can also delete something from our database table. I'm going to comment these ones out. But before then, let me put a comment there. Fetch one and fetch all functions. Now I'll say deleting a record. Deleting a record from the database. How do we do that? That's simple. My cursor dot execute. Here we need to enter the MySQL statement. delete from academic books where book title equals monetary policy. Yes, we have a book title here, Monetary Policy by Wallace Brixton. My cursor.execute delete from academic books where book title equals monetary policy. And we can see here print my cursor dot row count comma rows deleted. What do we have here? What we have here is easy to understand. We say here my cursor.execute delete from academic books where book title equals monetary policy, print my cursor.row count rows deleted from database. Now let's run it. Exactly, one row deleted from database. So monetary policy is not in our database anymore. Now let's check what we have in our database. I'll comment this one out. Here, my cursor, execute, select star, that's everything from where? From the academic books. Let's loop through it for I in my cursor, print I. I just jumped the top. My cursor.execute select everything from academic books. Now let's loop through it for I in my cursor, print I. Let's run it. Great. Now we have 33 entries. So that title, monetary policy, is gone. It used to be number 31. So number 31 is not there anymore. That's the one that we just deleted. Okay, that's how you use the delete feature in MySQL with Python. I am going to comment this one out. Let me clear this one. We can also select results with like and the percentage signs. Let me comment this one. It is also possible to use like and the percentage symbols to do MySQL query or MySQL queries. I'll say here my cursor dot execute select standardize everything from the table academic books where book underscore title like what? Single quote, percentage sign, internet. And let's look through it with a for loop. For I in my cursor, print I. What is going on here? What we are seeing here is easy to understand. We say my cursor execute, select from academic books where book title is like internet. Now we are looping through it. For I in my cursor, print I. Let's run our code. Great. So we have here two results: internet study and history of internet. So all the titles that look like internet, they are being displayed. This is how you use the like and the percentage symbol. And what happens if we remove one of the percentages? Are we going to get the same result? Now we got only one result: history of internet. I'm going to put that one back, and I will get the two results back. Okay, and if we remove the first percentage sign, what do we get? Let's try it. Internet study. So each of them will return a result based on what comes first. So internet comes first before the history of internet in the other one. But with the two percentage symbols, they will all be returned. Exactly. Whether this one comes first or this one comes last, it doesn't matter. Both of them are now returned. And again, look at it. The book category, the book area is internet. All right. If we had used book subject area, then both of them, of course, will be returned. But in that case, we would have to use equals, not like. I think one last thing we can do here now is the update function. We can also update a record in our table. Let us update a record in our database table. To do that, we will prepare an SQL statement. SQL underscore stmt SQL underscore stmt equals my cursor dot execute. Update. I like putting the keywords, reserved word in uppercase. They will work whether they are in uppercase or lowercase. It doesn't really matter with my SQL, but I prefer to leave it in uppercase so that I can use it to differentiate what I typed in and what is a keyword from the code. Let's see, update academic books. Let's update the academic books table. Set what? Set book underscore title equals advanced mechanics, where book underscore ID equals 1. Now we can print it out. Print my cursor dot count, comma, record affected. Let's run our code. Great. It says 1 record affected. And this time let's print our records. That is to see what we have left there. I'm going to comment this one out. My cursor.execute select star. That's everything from academic books. Let's loop through it for I in my cursor. Print I. Now let's run our code. Great. So I'm going to quickly scroll to the top to see where number 1 is. Yes, the ID number 1 now has changed from what it was before to advanced mechanics. That is what we set it to here. Here our statement was to update the academic books and set the book title to advanced mechanics, where book ID is equals to 1, and here the book ID is equals to 1 and the book title has changed to advanced mechanics. So this is how you connect to MySQL from Python, and we have looked at it from the terminal as well as the CMD command prompt or shell. We can also look at it from PHPMYADMIN, which is the web graphical interface that you can use to browse MySQL database content. I said earlier that I was going to run through it quickly, and to do that, now I have these databases on the server. I'm going to quickly refresh it. Yes, now we have app books. This is our database app books, which we've been working with since. If we look at it, yes, we have this table academic books, and if I click the table now, it will show everything in it. Great. Now this is select everything from academic books, and these are the results. Our number 1 entry, our number 1 record was set to advanced mechanics just now, and this is what we actually have here. So this is exactly the same as what we would get here. If I run this again, it's exactly the same thing, and number 1 there should also be advanced mechanics. Yes, it's also advanced mechanics. So in this tutorial, we have looked at ways of installing different MySQL modules in Python. We have used MySQL database with Python successfully by creating a database as well as a table. We inserted values into our table, and we used some MySQL functions in Python to demonstrate how to work with the databases and connect MySQL, XAMPP, and Python together. One last thing to do is to close our database. That will be dbcon.close. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you learned something from it. Please remember to subscribe to our channel. Bye for now.